Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Brandon and I am here today to discuss my January TBR. So if you don't know, TBR stands for to be read, and so these are the books that I'm hoping to read in January of 2020 as we kick off this brand new reading year. So a little discussion about my TBRs. I don't know how often I'm going to film TBR videos. I don't know if I'm going to do it every month or not because my tastes are all over the place a lot of the time. I don't know what I'm going to read, generally speaking, after the end of one book, starting another one. I kind of just look through my Audible account, I look through Hoopla, I look through Scribd, I look through my physical book collection, whatever it might be, and I just see what looks good to me at that moment. So I don't usually have any idea of where I'm going with my reading, but I figured this year, let's start it off at least with a TBR pile so I can give you guys a good idea of what I'm hoping to read this month. So I know a lot of booktubers will have large, ambitious TBRs with a dozen or more books on them, but that's because they are much better at planning than I am. And frankly, they're just quicker readers than I am. And so for my TBRs, generally speaking, I'm going to try to stick to 4 to 6 books that I want to talk about to read for that month. That doesn't mean I won't read more. It doesn't mean I'm going to read all of them, but my goal will be to finish my TBRs that I show you at the beginning of the month. Again, if I continue these, I know I'm doing January. I don't know what the future's going to hold, but you got to start somewhere, so we'll start with this one. With that said, let's dive into the 5 books that I hope to read in January. I'm going to start with the audiobooks this month. I had a free subscription to Scribd last month, and I was able to listen to, a book that I was reading for my work book club, which is the reason I got it, because it was available on there for free, so I was fortunate enough to get the free trial email from Scribd, and I signed up. If you hear screaming, that's my daughter. Ignore her. She's just trying to be put to sleep. Everything's fine. But she's screaming. She's screaming. I turned the furnace off. I can't turn the baby off. That's just the way it is. And so I finished that book, and I finished American Predator, which is a true crime book about Israel Keyes. I finished both of those in December. And so I decided there were a couple other books that I wanted to read on there that I was not able to get to last month. And so I decided to re-up my subscription for another month. So 2 of these books on this month's TBR are from Scribd. And the first one I'm hoping to read this month is going to be The Institute by Stephen King. So this, of course, is Stephen King's latest outing, and I've heard really good things about it. It sounds fascinating. It's described on Amazon as a mix of Firestarter and It. I read It last year, and it was probably one of my favorite books of the year. I have never read Firestarter, but I've seen parts of the movie. I know it's Drew Barrymore, but I don't think I've seen the entire thing. But I've seen parts of it. It's fine. So basically, the premise here is this child's parents get killed in the middle of the night, and he wakes up in this room that looks identical to his room, except there are no windows. Well, it turns out he's in the titular institute, and there are other kids there that have special powers, telekinesis, telepathy, and so on. And then I assume it's going to be them trying to break out, but I want to know as little about it as I possibly can. So I'm going to read The Institute by Stephen King this month. The second book I plan to read, thanks to Scribd, is going to be Sadie by Courtney Summers. This is one that has gotten a lot of hype on BookTube, at least the BookTube channels I've watched, and it's supposed to be excellent in audiobook form. And so it's one I'm really excited to listen to, and I'm so happy that it's on Scribd for me to download. So Sadie is about a girl named Sadie who is trying to figure out who murdered her sister. This one is set up in a podcast style, from what I hear. And so that's why the audiobook is recommended so highly. So I don't know very much about this one either, and that's fine by me. It's a young adult book that's gotten a lot of praise, and so I'm really excited to dive into it. It's going to be a much shorter one than The Institute, so I shouldn't have any problem finishing both of those on my drives to and from work throughout the month of January. So the second book I hope to read in January is going to be Sadie by Courtney Summers. The third book that I hope to finish in January is actually going to be one of my Christmas gifts that I received from Chris this year. It's R.L. Stine's Just Beyond the Scare School. And so this, of course, is a middle grade horror graphic novel. by R.L. Stine, who is one of my favorite authors, as I've mentioned multiple times. So this one is about these 3 children that run into a creature at their middle school, and they're taken away to another realm where they're trying to unravel some sort of mystery, or so the back of the book claims. So this one I'm really excited to get to because not only was it a Christmas gift, but it's also going to help me fulfill one of my 2020 entertainment goals, where I set out to read at least 12 of my physical or digital backlog of graphic novels. So this one should be a lot of fun and a really quick read. So I'm excited to check this one out. So next up is another graphic novel, and this one is Green Lantern Volume 1, Intergalactic Lawman. So there is a website I follow called Batman's Bookcase. And back in the summer, they tweeted out an image from this graphic novel, and I asked him what it was. He told me, and so I added it to my Amazon cart. I don't buy hardcover graphic novels typically, and so I was waiting until December for it to come out. It came out on Christmas Eve in paperback. Well, I forgot all about it, and then because of some Amazon credit I have right now, I was going through my wish list, and I remembered that I had this one in there. And so I decided to, instead of purchasing it, check the library. Sure enough, my library had it. So this is a library haul. Yay. And so I don't really know what this one's about, but I know the art style looks fantastic, which is the reason I decided to check it out. I'm not a huge Green Lantern guy. I recently watched the Ryan Reynolds movie, which everybody hates, which I thought was fine. But that's really all I know about Green Lantern. I have read him in the Injustice series, which I absolutely love. But I've never read any of his standalone stuff, and so this will be a first. And I'm excited to dive in. It's Grant Morrison, so I'm sure it's going to be interesting. It's probably going to be complicated because that is a staple of Morrison's writing. So it's going to be fun. So I'm definitely going to check this one out this month. It is Green Lantern Volume 1, Intergalactic Lawman. And this was a library pickup for the month. So, all right. And then the last book that I want to talk about for my January TBR is one in a series that I'm trying to finish up this year, which I have this one and one other one to go. I just finished The Babysitter 2 by R.L. Stine last night, actually. And so I have to read The Babysitter 3 by R.L. Stine. So this, of course, is book number 3 in a 4-book series. I'm not going to really talk about what this one is. Obviously, it is about a babysitter who is stalked in one way or another, but I don't want to give any spoilers for the first 2 books in case you are interested in reading them and have not. But you can check out my review on Cinefessions.com. Like I said, I just finished book number 2 yesterday, so I haven't actually written the review, but by the time this video goes live, I'm sure that review will be up on Cinefessions.com. So definitely check that out for the review of The Babysitter and The Babysitter 2, both by R.L. Stine. So for January, I need to continue the series. This is actually the longest in the series. It is 182 pages, so it's not long at all, so I shouldn't have any issues with it. But the second book was a bit of a letdown compared to the first book, and so I feel like the series is going to continue to go downhill, but you never know until you actually read it. So I'm going to continue on in the series, and hopefully I will have a review for you on the website when I'm finished with this. And then hopefully we're talking in February about The Babysitter 4, but we'll see where we go from here. All right, so that's going to do it. I hope you guys enjoyed my January TBR video. If you did, please consider subscribing. If not, thank you anyway for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know down in the comments below what your TBR looks like for January. Hey, if you have any movies that you're planning to watch, any music you're thinking about listening to, add that down below too. As I said, all media is welcome here on Cinefessions. So, all right, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Starting over. We're going to start over. Okay.